Big fights on this weekend.
What? Who? Where?
Tom Aspinall's finally fighting. For the
Who's he get? Who'd they give him?
Siragon.
Again? Or, I mean, he's going to fight for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Probably lose. What he does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was on a tear until he got beat by Jones, got choked out.
Yep.
And then Aspinall's been sitting for a year waiting. But the fights, prelims are 9 a.m. And the main card.
Oh, it's in England or something?
I thought it was in Paris, but it must be in Abu Dhabi or something.
I think Paris is 7 hours ahead. England 6 hours. So
it must be in Abu Dhabi.
8 or 9 hours, probably. My guess.
Abu Dhabi.
So here we are once again.
Hello, everyone.
I've got Irish whiskey with pineapple whiskey with Sprite Zero.
Nice. I've got the Liney's Summer Shandy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Episode 7.
Cheers, everyone.
We're going deep. And when I say we're going deep, we're going underground.
How deep are we going?
All the way down.
Wow. Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Welcome to American Anomalies, where we dig beneath, you see what I did there? Accepted history to expose what might be hidden in the shadows below. Today, the theory that beneath American soil lies a sprawling network of tunnels, miles and miles of subterranean passageways, secretly built by state or military bodies or used by those in power to transit, unseen. Some say these tunnels allow passage between distant points in hours, while others claim lost entrances are sealed off, guarded, or classified. What is rumor? What is rooted in declassified docs? Let's descend.
Mm-hmm.
Roll it. Here we go. You're listening to the American Anomalies Podcast with Jeff Hill and Brett Morton. If you've ever seen sci-fi or conspiracy content, you've probably come across the acronym DUMB. I mean, I haven't, but you may have. And it stands for Deep Underground Military Base. The idea is that secret bases connected by tunnels, often at extreme depths, designed for covert movement, shelter, or command continuity. Now, I will break into a little piece of conversation here for this sake right here. I have always believed there's underground command centers because obviously bunkers, right? So I believe there are bunkers around the United States for strategic command for sure. And I don't see why there wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
That I think we could probably take out of the equation, because I think what's at stake here is this larger thought that there's this huge network, that everything's somehow connected, or there's different levels to it. So one outspoken proponent is Catherine Fitz, former HUD secretary, who claims the United States spent $21 trillion on hidden underground bases. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
She asserts that there are around 170 underground facilities and hints at an underground transportation network powering them. Now, the number 170, I kind of feel like that's not out of hand. The network thing, though, I'm not sure. But whether or not the exact numbers hold, the claim fuels speculation of a vast underworld below. Another source is the book Underground Bases and Tunnels by Richard Sauter. Came out in 1995, and he writes, I have been able to find considerably less information about the much-rumored tunnel system, said by some reports to crisscross the United States, but this does not mean that it does not exist. Sauter collects declassified engineering documents, FOIA request responses, and theory. He cites an Army Corps of Engineers speech from the 1960s, which said several of the most interesting facilities that have been designed and constructed by the Corps are classified. He also lists places where underground facilities are alleged to be, like Fort Belvoir, Virginia, West Point, New York, Groom Lake area, S4 in Nevada, White Sands, New Mexico, Mount Blackmore, Montana, Pipestone Pass near Butte, Montana. These are all said to be proven that they exist. A lot of these we do know for a fact they exist. He doesn't claim all are interconnected, but suggests the infrastructure and planning for mass underground construction have been real for decades. So the theory rests on three pillars: engineering feasibility, secrecy and classification, which some has been found through redacted records, and whispered leaks and rumors and local legends, because some people will find sealed tunnels or hidden doors. I want to say, when you talked about Montauk before, people found uh, places in the ground in Montauk that are sealed off, large tunnels
Hmm.
that are big enough for vehicles to get through. So there's things like that too. Um, Known underground facilities have also been seeds for speculation. Before we get into that, let's think about what is publicly known. These sites are often cited as pieces of the story of this greater network. Raven Rock Mountain Complex, Site R, located on the border of Pennsylvania and Maryland, is a continuity of government bunkers. It includes underground command areas, communication centers, and secure tunnels. Conspiracy thinkers often wonder whether its tunnels connect outward to other bases. Then we have Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado, built inside a granite mountain, houses NORAD. Don't they follow Santa?
Yes.
And military infrastructure. I mean, hey, it's Santa. We got to shield them from attack. While not claimed to be part of a cross-country tunnel highway, its existence underscores that the U.S. military does have subterranean command nesting, which, again, I can easily see that. You figure East Coast, near D.C., Virginia area, the military in there by New York, come across to the middle part of the United States, Colorado, in the mountains, hard to get to. That makes a lot of sense strategically to me. Same thing with out in the desert. You also have West Fort Hood, Texas, an underground weapons storage complex adjacent to Fort Hood. It features tunnel corridors over 20 feet wide, rooms, concrete walls, and infrastructure below a hillside. It's used today for training and tunnel warfare, but its robust construction fuels speculation of deeper connectivity, or there's more to it than what people usually know. These places are known or partially documented and provide plausible waypoints for people stitching together bigger theories. Then you have the miles long transit theory. This is the theory that there is a central set of tunnels that exist which allow rapid transit between faraway points. So this would be like states and regions bypassing surface obstacles entirely. I think people think or say that you could get, 500 miles in 2 hours, things like that. Tunnels built for vehicles, trains, or specialized ground vehicles operating under secrecy, vertical shafts, hidden entrances in mountains and abandoned mines, remote land parcels, sealed airlocks or blast doors, and some claim variable depths from hundreds of feet to thousands of feet. Any evidence is circumstantial, but then people like Fitz would say there's budget discrepancies. $21 trillion is
That's a
is
lot
is
of
is
cash.
arguably more than I think could even be spent. But then there's secrecy in military and engineering documents. Things are classified about facilities, unnamed base projects. Souter, his work claimed that there were many documents like this. Local legends and anomalies. Hey, there we are. Like no trespassing on mountainsides, sealed manhole covers in remote forests, old mines that have never officially existed on maps, alleged whistleblower claims, which are very hard to verify, but they'll say that tunnels were used by high level personnel to move between bases or hide from detection, which again, I think that's very plausible. If you're in they had the place years ago in West Virginia that Time Magazine or Washington Post or somebody outed it unintentionally, that it was a place that looked like a golf resort or something like that, and then they could take the president down into this bunker, and it was a command center, and then they talked about it in this article. It's like, whoops, we let the cat out of the bag. So if you had that in the 1960s, I'm sure there could have been other sites around the country for sure, easily. Also unexplained radar or aircraft behavior in some UAP and UFO literature, premises that have led to people talking about secret tunnels, train systems, might explain sudden disappearances or teleportation-like movement. I know there's a mountain range somewhere where they say there's this big door. It could explain, it looks like they're flying in. It could be just an access point into a tunnel network to a bunker.
Uh-huh.
But however, credible engineering, geology, and urban planning evidence of a transcontinental tunnel system is very lacking. To find individual places, though, is more plausible and provable. So one interesting hint in Souter's underground bases and tunnels, he mentions a 1964 Army Corps plan to construct a large cavity 4,000 feet beneath Argus Peak, northwest of Trona, California, inside the China Lake Naval Weapons Center boundaries. Whether that was ever realized or not is still unknown. Makes sense, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense. There's hot spots and alleged hubs in the theories. Here's a few key places often named, just so you can extend your Google searches. Why it's cited. So you have Area S4, Groom Lake in Nevada, adjacent to Area 51. I believe now people also talk about Area 52. Rumored secret base tunnel exits for testing, alien or advanced aircraft access. Dulce, New Mexico, famous in UFO lore for underground joint human-alien facility deep beneath the Archuleta Mesa, Mount Shasta. We talked about Mount Shasta.
Right.
Sierra Nevada. So there's stuff going on, like these dogs. What is
Pause.
edit here? Chop.
Note the minute.
I'm just gonna let it keep going. Yeah, what is it? 11 minutes.
All right.
What is going on? Jack. Hey. Good grief. Charlie Brown. Where did I leave off? Hidden Mountain. Shasta. Then there's the Warrenton Training Center in Virginia, sometimes mentioned in Souter's works as a secret bunker region, which I'm totally on board with all that. A lot of that does exist. There's proof. I think really what's at question here is whether or not there's these networks. It could be that the military has networks across 3 or 4 sites in a certain region.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this deeper talk of, these companies and billionaires and whoever put together this super highway system.
Can you get to New York to LA underground?
Right. Now you look at places like, I know Atlanta, Georgia has underground parts of the city. There's stuff in Louisville, Kentucky, the world's largest underground cave system.
Yeah. Mammoth Cave.
Over 5 million square feet, man-made. They've got, you can have storage in there. You can do, I think there's zip lining, bike riding, bus tours.
Yep.
There's a lot of places that are underground, and you think, well, why would that just be there? Mm-hmm. Why would you want to make that? Well, there's probably a deeper reason at some other point in time. It leads to a lot of speculation. So there's no serious peer-reviewed geological engineering or transportation study that supports a fully connected tunnel network. But you could consider some obstacles in that theory. Geology, fault lines, tunneling across various rock types, fault zones, aquifers, and other terrains would be a monstrous in cost and risk. So some of it just can't be possible. Ventilation, power, safety. Any long tunnel needs air supply, cooling, emergency egress, maintenance shafts. It just makes it harder and harder to consider it as being real. Now, that's not to say there couldn't be legs, from here to here.
Right.
Make your way up, get over to the next one and continue. I guess that would be, to me, more believable. Then you get into the cost, the logistics, blasting, reinforcement. Gets super expensive, even with these supposed government budgets. Then you have the leaks and whistleblowers who sometimes get outed as, angry ex-employees or somebody that's just looking for the fame to be talking about it. Also, remote sensing, satellite and seismic data would be off the charts. especially if there's blasting and other subterranean excavations going on. Official denials of any absence of acknowledgement. No federal agency has ever confirmed that there's a cross-country secret tunnel grid. So skeptics also point out how much of the evidence is circular. The theory uses leaks, redactions, and secrecy as proof, which can become a closed loop. We can't see them because they are hidden, become self-fulfilling. So then, if these things were to be true, let's just take the other side of it. If because like I said, I believe in the bunker theory. There are bunkers.
Sure.
I don't believe in the transcontinental network theory.
Right.
But people say, what if a trip from Denver to Washington, D.C. could be made underground in under 2 hours? Then you just, there's people that believe that's possible. There's people that believe that's in place. I can't. My mind just goes into research mode. And when I go through all those things I just listed off, I can't see that being possible. I could see something being pretty long from point A to point B, or like I said, the large cavern in Louisville, Kentucky, that's man-made, things like that. I can't see a big network. Let's see. And also, like, there's places that you can go and you can tour them and you can kind of look around and see for yourself just how monumental the task is to make it. Let's see here. What do we got? So there's a lot of skepticism there from me anyway about it being a network. But as we always say to people, if there's something you've heard where you live, an urban legend or theory, send us that info, put it in the comments, find us online somewhere, send it to us on the comments here below this if you're watching on YouTube or even on Spotify, and let us know. A couple other places before I go that I wanted to talk about that are places you can sort of investigate is Warrenton, Virginia. There's a training center there and Vent Hill Farm Station. Let's see. There's some stuff going on there. This actually went into like another episode kind of thing. So in Warrenton, Virginia, it's a small town with a big secret. From Cold War era bunkers to modern data centers, the underground landscape is more complex than it appears. So this is a place where there is quite a bit of activity. And I don't know if you could get into it, but there are ways. So there's a training center, a U.S. government communications facility that was established in 1951, located in the Culpeper County. It serves as a hub for agencies like the CIA, the NSA, and Department of State. It's known for its underground bunkers designed for continuity of government during crisis. Now that, to me, totally believable, but this could feed into these theories. I think that's the big thing, is it's feeding into these theories, because then you want to go, well, how big is this place? Well, I'm thinking it's pretty big. These facilities are not open to the public, and their underground components remain shrouded in secrecy. But could they be part of a larger undisclosed network? Just a short distance from Warrenton lies Vent Hill Farm Station, a former NSA and Army signals intelligence facility, which operated from 1942 all the way to 1997. The site now hosts various tech companies and the Cold War Museum. So you can go there now. There's a museum there. So the facility is no longer active. Some locals recall stories of sealed rooms and hidden tunnels beneath the site. A Reddit user shared that some people say there were sealed tunnels or underground levels there when it was still a military base. So could these be part of a broader network? I mean, in the small sense of a network of, say, if I'm looking at it in the terms of a building underground, let's just say the bunker is a building underground. Yeah, there could be several. Could be a command center, data center, military, bunkers just for people to sleep and rest,
armory,
right? Armory. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I guess you could say there could be that.
And then tunnels connecting those.
Yeah,
of course.
So the idea of an extensive underground tunnel system beneath Warrenton is largely speculative, but the presence of multiple government facilities with undisclosed underground components fuels these theories. However, in this case, I agree with some of that. So the proximity of WTC and Vent Hill Farm Station raises questions about the potential connection between them. I think it's plausible. I think it's plausible right there. But I just thought that was a good one to bring up because you can actually, like I said, there's a museum there. You can go check it out and kind of, you know, get the feel for yourself. It says here that the government would have something like this to ensure communications and operations during emergencies. Makes total sense. A rapid movement between key facilities without detection makes total sense. And it's a secure location for sensitive materials and equipment. Makes total sense. While there's no concrete evidence to support these theories, the combination of secrecy and strategic locations makes it intriguing.
Hmm.
So then you have locals who have mixed feelings about the theories surrounding Warrenton's underground landscape. Some view them as mere speculation, while others believe there's more to it. In a comment pulled from Facebook, someone said, I work on the old Vent Hill Farms typical military base roads that lead to nowhere, but they're still there. Just like when we talked about Montauk, there's roads and things around the park, and stuff is sealed off in the side of the hills, and you can see like vents sticking out of the ground, and you're like, well, where's this coming from? So
Hmm.
this sentiment reflects a sense of mystery and curiosity about the area's past. Weather factor fiction, the theory of a hidden tunnel network beneath adds another layer to the town's rich history. As we continue to explore the depths of these mysteries, remember that sometimes the most intriguing stories are the ones buried underground. Oh
So,
yeah.
if you look just on the surface there, you've got, of course, major cities have subways, right? So
Mhm.
those are underground tunnels. And to think that those couldn't be expanded just a little bit and reach further points,
Right.
continuing underground. Yeah. To think that there's a nationwide network underground is a far stretch, but I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that it's
Yeah.
underway or planned, that would make sense. But I don't know the history of those, what do they call them, the tunnel diggers. Ocean's 11 or Ocean's
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah,
had one.
yeah.
Ocean's 12 had one when they're going to dig underground. They also dug the English Channel that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's kind of what you would need, that type of equipment, in order to bore underground to
Mhm.
build these tunnels. And then the other thing is, okay, you drive from Colorado to Washington, D.C., you mentioned in there, in 2 hours. Well, how fast do you have to, are you able to drive underground at 120 miles an hour, 150
I think
miles
they
an
said it would
hour?
take
You
1,000
know,
miles an hour.
yeah, I mean, so you're not doing that in a conventional vehicle.
Right.
So now you've not only built these tunnels, but now you have a high-speed train or tram or some
Mhm.
sort of thing.
Right.
That seems a bit
Yeah.
odd. Now, if they just had underground tunnels where you can drive, and you've got your presidential, uh, you know, cascade of vehicles that are driving 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, because there's not a bunch of on ramps, off
Mhm.
ramps, and traffic and deer jumping in or whatever. That seems plausible.
Yeah.
But
Well, you have, like, out in the Great Plains where you have some, like, nuclear facilities, we
mhm,
know there's silos that are 30, 40 stories deep,
right.
large large, cache of weapons, and they're stored underground. There's living quarters, everything you need. There's been people that have, bought decommissioned silos and
Hmm.
turned them into living space.
Right.
We
Yeah.
know that stuff exists, but what we don't know and we speculate is, could they be connected further
Sure.
on down the line?
Sure.
So if I had the boring machine, I think the issue, if I'm in the Midwest going west, the issue is when I hit the mountains, it's granite,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
the aquifers, the water,
Yeah.
the
Your tunnel's getting
you
flooded.
could cause
Right.
earthquakes, floods, you need shoring, all this different stuff. So at some point you have to stop the tunnel system. If it's a system we're talking about, you have to stop and then say, okay, this is base A or B in the chain, and then we need to move
come
some
come
way.
up to the
Yeah,
surface, move 20, 30, 50 miles,
yeah.
and then back down
A
again.
second leg picks up because they say, there's stuff in the mountains in the Rockies too. So it's just a matter of, well, we can't go any deeper. We can't go to the left. We can't go to the right. This is where it's got to be.
Mhm.
So I think that, if there's any kind of network, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'd ever
Yeah.
see it. I can see, though, smaller areas having networks for
Right.
themselves.
Right.
Like we said before, you never wanna keep your ammunition where your kitchen is, you gotta have some separation, so I could see
Sure.
some
Sure.
going back and forth, some underground vehicles and things like that.
Definitely within cities, under
Yeah,
Washington, DC,
for sure.
under military bases, for sure they have
Yeah,
underground tunnels, just to keep it all safe, private,
yeah.
undetected. Yeah, that's plausible. The nationwide one, or at least multi-state one, hmm, it's up for
I
debate.
could see
Hey,
something under a tri-state area
yeah,
somewhere for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility, it's just when you get into these other the theory of it being this big network,
Hmm.
it just becomes such an undertaking, you just don't even know how it could happen.
Right,
There's just
right.
not enough people, power, and equipment to get it accomplished.
Yeah.
But there's people out there that believe it. There's people out there that claim they have proof.
Hey, don't know
And
for
there's a
sure.
lot of wild videos out there.
If you've got any evidence you want to share,
That's right.
let us know.
That's right.
Interesting story.
Yep.
All right. Well, uh, what I'm bringing today is a story that is it's a true story, and it has been closed, officially closed, but unsolved. So let's get into it. Let me take you back to a cold, rainy afternoon on November 24th, 1971. It was the day before Thanksgiving, and passengers were boarding Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon, bound for Seattle. Among them was a man dressed in a dark suit, black tie, and sunglasses. He carried a briefcase and identified himself as Dan Cooper, but history would remember him by another name, D.B. Cooper. What happened next would become one of the most legendary unsolved crimes in American history. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to the flight attendant. She initially ignored it, thinking it was just another flirtatious message. But Cooper leaned in and quietly said, "Miss, you'd better read that. I have a bomb." She opened the note and saw a chilling message. Cooper claimed he had explosives and was hijacking the plane. He opened his briefcase to reveal wires and red cylinders, convincing enough to spark fear. Cooper then calmly issued his demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. He was composed, polite, and eerily professional. He didn't shout, didn't panic, and he didn't harm anyone. He simply took control. When the plane landed in Seattle, his demands were met. The passengers were released unharmed. Cooper kept the flight crew on board and instructed them to fly south towards Mexico City. He specified a low altitude of 10,000 feet and a slow speed of 200 knots, conditions that were suitable for a parachute jump. Somewhere over the dense forest of southwestern Washington, Cooper opened the rear stairway of the Boeing 727 and parachuted into the stormy night. He vanished. No one saw him land. No one ever found him. The FBI launched an extensive investigation, codenamed NORJAC, short for Northwest Hijacking. They scoured the wilderness with helicopters and search teams. They interviewed hundreds of suspects. They followed every lead, but Cooper had disappeared without a trace. The only physical evidence recovered was a placard from the plane's rear stairway, found in the woods in 1978, and a bundle of decaying $20 bills discovered in 1980 along the Columbia River, money that matched the ransom serial numbers. The question that haunts investigators to this day is, did Cooper survive the jump? Some argue he did. He seemed to know the aircraft well. He chose a flight path and altitude suitable for parachuting. He was calm, deliberate, and possibly trained. Others believe he perished. The weather was brutal. The terrain was unforgiving. He wore a suit and loafers, not exactly survival gear. And the parachute he chose was non steerable, increasing the risk of a fatal landing. Over the years, many suspects have emerged. Richard McCoy, a man who hijacked a plane in a similar fashion months later, was considered a strong candidate. He was caught and killed in a shootout with police. Then there was Dwayne Weber, a man with a criminal past, allegedly confessed to being Cooper on his deathbed. Also, Robert Rackstraw, a Vietnam veteran with a suspicious background, was investigated but never charged. None of these men could be definitively linked to the crime. Despite the lack of resolution, D.B. Cooper became a legend, and he was seen by many as a modern day outlaw, a mysterious figure who outwitted the authorities and vanished into folklore. His story inspired books, films, songs, and even comic books. There's an annual festival in Ariel, Washington, celebrating his legacy. His image, sunglasses, suit, and briefcase, has become iconic. The hijacking also led to real changes in aviation security. The FAA mandated the installation of Cooper vanes on Boeing 727s to prevent rear stairway deployment during flight. Airport screening procedures were tightened. Hijacking became a federal crime with harsher penalties. Cooper's actions reshaped how airlines and law enforcement approach air safety. Psychologically, Cooper remains an enigma. He was calm, courteous, and strategic. He never harmed anyone. He seemed to know exactly what he was doing. What was his motive? Was he driven by greed, by thrill, by revenge? Or was he simply a man who wanted to disappear and start over? We may never know. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case, citing a lack of new leads. But the mystery lives on. Amateur sleuths, journalists, and curious minds continue to chase the ghost of D.B. Cooper. His story is more than a crime. It's a cultural phenomenon. It challenges our understanding of justice, identity, and the allure of the unknown. Let's take a moment to consider the evidence. Cooper's tie, left behind on the plane, was analyzed decades later. It contained rare metal particles, titanium, bismuth, and strontium. Strontium. Yes, suggesting he may have worked in aerospace or chemical manufacturing. Yet, even with modern forensic tools, no DNA match was ever found. The money discovered in 1980 was buried in sand, deteriorated by time and water. It raised more questions than answers. Was it dropped during the jump? Was it buried intentionally? Was it a decoy? The parachutes Cooper requested included 2 main and 2 reserve chutes. One of the reserves was a dummy chute used for training, non-functional. Did Cooper know this? Did he choose it by mistake? If so, it could have been fatal. But if he was experienced, he may have chosen the dummy chute intentionally to mislead investigators or to discard it midair. The flight path took the plane over rugged terrain, forest, rivers, and mountains. The weather that night was stormy with strong winds and low visibility. Cooper jumped into the darkness with no clear landing zone. If he survived, he would have needed to navigate the wilderness, avoid detection, and disappear without spending the ransom money in a traceable way. That's a tall order, but not impossible. Some theorists believe Cooper was a former paratrooper or military operative. His calm demeanor, knowledge of aircraft, and strategic planning support this idea. Others think he was a disgruntled airline employee, familiar with flight operations and motivated by revenge. Still, others suggest he was a criminal mastermind who planned the heist meticulously and escaped to a new life abroad. The cultural impact of the case cannot be overstated. D.B. Cooper has become a symbol of mystery, rebellion, and audacity. He's been referenced on television shows like Prison Break, Leverage, and Loki. He's inspired songs, podcasts, and documentaries. He's even appeared in comic books and video games. The annual D.B. Cooper Days Festival features parachute contests, reenactments, and storytelling sessions. Cooper is more than a criminal, he's a legend. The case also serves as a cautionary tale. It highlights the limitations of forensic science in the 1970s, the challenges of interagency cooperation, and the unpredictability of human behavior. It reminds us that even with all our technology and expertise, some mysteries remain unsolved. It also shows how myths can outlive fact, how a story can become larger than life. So where does that leave us today? The FBI has closed the case, but the public hasn't. Online communities continue to analyze evidence, debate theories, and search for clues. New books and documentaries are released regularly. The mystery endures because it taps into something deeper, a desire to understand the unknown, to solve the unsolvable, to believe that someone could pull off the perfect escape. Whether Cooper survived and lived out his days in anonymity or perished in the wilderness, one thing is certain: his legacy endures. He remains a symbol of mystery, rebellion, and the enduring power of a story that refuses to die. So he was never found, obviously. Several people have been thought of as suspects and either cleared or it was just not certain that they could be pinpointed as the suspect. An interesting thing is he asked for 4 parachutes, even though he was working alone. He kept the crew on board, but released all the passengers. So he asked for those 4 parachutes, and I think the prevailing theory is that way, if he asked for 1, then the authorities can mess with it and make it so it doesn't operate correctly or whatever, or put a tracker in it, whatever technologies they had in 1971. But if he asked for 4, they're not sure which one he's going to take, and then they don't know if he's going to force somebody else to jump with him. So that kind of eliminates the chance that they could really sabotage those all 4 of them, because you could put an innocent life at risk if he makes 1 or 2 or 3 other people jump with him. They don't know which one he's going to use. So kind of smart there.
I think there's one new update to the case. Well, not new, it's 2020, so it's about 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And then there's a couple other theories that I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. So my theories are out there. They're pretty wild. One is he never jumped. He stayed on the plane, disguise. And he very well could have worked for the airline. He could have been a co-pilot. He could have been a second officer. He could have ducked into the bathroom and changed into an outfit and a disguise and nondescript. Nobody really knows. He goes down that stairwell that would open to fly, and maybe dump the money or dummy money, or like you said, stuff was found in the sand. They couldn't quite identify. Could have been something there. The other theory is, what if the 4 people on board were in on it? Because you're letting everybody go. You got the 4 chutes. You got 4 people on board with you, the crew on there with you. Hey, we're going to split this money. You keep your mouth shut, no matter what it takes. Maybe they were former military. They knew each other. There was some kind of bond that they knew they could trust each other. Okay. I said it. Here's the other thing, though. In 2020, a brother and sister came forward after their mother passed away, North Carolina, and they said, we waited to report this because we didn't want to. We think that the information would have implicated our mother, and she was old, and she passed. And they got a hold of authorities, and they said, "Come here, Dad had this chest or whatever in this shed." And evidence seems to point that it is one of the parachutes. Now, like you said, the style of parachute, people writing books about this and going into various detail and interviews. This could have been a super fan of the most super fan and figured out exactly what it was, what kind it was, and just had it, and then would tell people. People have this whole love of wanting to get involved in things they didn't do.
Right.
So I'm playing devil's advocate on both sides of it. Is maybe it really was him, and at some point in his life, he just wanted to get it off his chest that he did it, or he wanted to gloat a little bit before he passed on. And he took his son out to the shed and said, "Hey, buddy, Dad did it. Dad pulled it off. It never caught me, but your mom knew about it the whole time, so don't tell anybody."
Yeah.
As a sort of a device to keep him from talking.
Right. Your mom's going to get in trouble if you
say so don't ever say anything. Right. So you have that. So if I was making the movie, the DB Cooper movie, which they've made, I kind of like that thing where it's the inside job and the guy was there the whole time and just walked right by and had his bag full of money.
Well, yeah, it could be. It could be. They said though that so dropping the stairs back there, whether he jumped or not, some of that money did find its way, and they were able to match the serial numbers to what they recorded. So they know that was part of the money that he was given when he released the passengers and got the ransom money.
Right.
So if he, let's say he stayed on board, let's say he opened the stairs and never jumped, but he hid inside there. I don't know how extensively they searched the plane, but I would imagine they searched top to bottom, maybe even brought dogs on or whatever. That would be a hard theory to think that he stayed on the plane and then somehow got off without being noticed after they landed.
He dressed up like one of the crew members and just took him down there and shoved him out with the dummy parachute.
Yeah, but don't you think
and then walk back up?
Don't you think the other crew members would realize that
he could have had a twin brother that he just hated?
Right. Yeah, I don't know if the crew members could keep it that quiet.
My money's on, he's got to put this together, and he had to have accomplices. That's a lot to the whole thing. The crew was his accomplices. That's a lot of money in those days.
Sure.
Even your cut of 20-30 grand was a big cut.
Oh,
that was a lot of cash.
Years ago, right?
You could get cars and houses for like $2,500 back then.
Right.
So you take a chunk of the money, you stick it in a bag, you stick it to the dummy chute or somehow whatever, and you just toss them. They're gonna find that. They're gonna think, throw some clothes, stay on the plane. The plane lands. Oh man, there was only 4 of us, but there was 5 or there was 3 or whatever the numbers.
I'm sure the plane was met with authorities and no one was allowed to get on or off until they entered.
So it had to all be an elaborate plan. Where are we going to hide this extra person? Whatever. I think it could have been done. The technology used, we talk about technology updating all the time. No, there was no RF scanning. There was no cameras.
Right.
There's a lot of mistakes that could have been made that day at the right time by the right person, planning it the right way with the right people involved. I'm going to go with the theory that the crew was involved and they split. They all got a cut. Or
it's interesting.
Or
for sure.
He ran off with his cut and they didn't know who he was after all.
Yeah.
I thought they knew.
Yeah. 'cause if you look at where he jumped, and there's obviously tons of information online if you want to do a Google search, the area where he could have jumped and the flight path, it was over some very rugged terrain. He also said that, in there that he had a non-steerable parachute. It's not like ones today where, it's kind of a rectangle canopy and you can pull on it and turn it. These were the military style, just a round parachute where you jump out and the wind takes you where the wind takes you. And to do that over a heavily wooded, sparsely populated area, seems very treacherous. So I think that he did jump with the money. The money was a lot heavier than, 200 grand. If it was $20 bills, $100 bills, that's a lot of extra weight that you're also carrying, and you're at the mercy of. They said, I read somewhere where the winds were at that altitude 100 miles an hour, 10,000 feet up. It was also well below freezing at that altitude. Now he would drop fairly quickly and get into some warmer, but it was also a thunderstorm. So the chances that he even survived the drop is pretty minimal, but they never found a body. They never found the parachute. Search planes went over and didn't see one hanging in the trees. Of course, it's a lot of territory, but yeah, who knows? I mean, the mystery lives on. That's why we're talking about it today. It's closed because they figure at that age, the guy is, probably not living anymore. And there's no new lead. So why continue to spend the resources to solve it?
Right. But the mystery lives on because they never found a body. So that's another thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
200 grand won't get you shit in 2025.
No, not really.
But hijacking an airplane will get you something. Probably.
Oh yeah, it will.
15 to life.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No. But as we always say, leave us some comments about these. If you have other theories, other urban legends.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
If you know who DB Cooper was, tell us.
Yeah.
If you have theories and things about the underground bunkers near where you live, let us know. We've gotten feedback about Montauk in the past. People that live out on the East Coast have visited there. They say there's some really unusual things that you can actually go see in the parks. I love talking about places and things that you can go investigate for yourself and see for yourself. I love that part of this, doing this. So definitely get involved and leave those comments and let us know what's going on. That's it for episode 7. We're 100-0 when it comes to episode 7 now.
Yep. It's awesome. Yeah, undefeated on episode 7.
Undefeated on episode 7. That's right.
Any AI Atlas update?
Oh yeah.
I
kind of gave up because it calmed down.
It's nothing new yet, but it's still on track to collide with the Earth and destroy us all. So, no, just kidding.
Let's see here. We're under attack, alien attack. There's 5 million lizard soldiers on the mothership.
Right.
That was the last one that I heard. Let's see.
It's just a comet, folks. It's just a comet.
Recent activities include being observed by spacecraft near Mars, showing unusually high nickel to iron ratio, a stable trajectory that defies typical cometary behavior, and signs of early activity far from the sun. The object is currently on the far side of the sun from the Earth, but will become visible again in early December 2025. So
we got time. We got time yet. It's coming around.
We'll have to do a live Atlas Watch stream and pull up the video of it coming around and seeing the aliens wave as they go by.
Let me just add one thing here. If you've got the technology to travel distances, vast distances across space, and you've got that technology, I would think you would also have a cloaking technology to make you look just like a comet. Like, oh, don't look at us. We're just a regular comet. No worries here, until it's too late.
Yeah. So the little green men are going by. Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of theories out there on it. There's a lot of info on it. some good, some bad, some you'll have to choose for yourself to decide what to believe.
It's interesting at the very least.
It's pretty wild when you are met with the theory that something has come from beyond our galaxy for only the third time. You go, well, gee, I thought the galaxy was the galaxy. And then, no, it's beyond. So
yeah,
it's
we shall see.
Yes.
Well, thanks everyone for listening, and tell your friends, like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know.
Right. Let us know. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Later. You're listening to the American Anomalies Podcast with Jeff Hill and Brett Morton.